Today we are going to talk about facing fear, pursuing power. Facing fear and pursuing power. And I'd like to ask the audience, what is the opposite of power? Can anyone tell me what the opposite of power is? Okay, Michelle? Weakness, very good. Timidity, wonderful. Fear, wonderful. I will say this, an African proverb, listen to this, says, if you fear something, you give it the power over you. The basic dictionary definition of fear is a strong emotion caused by anticipation or fear of impending danger. It's an extreme panic or alarm. So these were very good because they all dealt with a sense of vulnerability. Fear is something we all deal with. Some people might say we're born with it. Others might say it's something that is nurtured within our culture or society. But my first recollection of fear is as a 5-year-old child. I would go to bed at night, and somehow there was a big scary monster that would stand over my closet. Some of you might have had big scary monsters, but this one came just about every night. And after a while, I discovered that maybe that is not a big scary monster. Maybe that is my dress hanging over the closet door. And so before I'd go to bed that night, I would look at that dress and make sure that that was my nice, gentle blue dress, you know, just to make sure that this is not a scary monster. And sure enough, I would look at that dress and say, it's just a dress. And the lights would be turned off, and I would go to bed, and suddenly again, I would peek over the blankets, and that blue dress will turn into a big scary monster. But I learned fear. I learned that there was something bigger than me that I couldn't quite explain. And of course, it wasn't real, it was a dress. But in my mind, there was something that I could not control. But the fear I'd like to talk to you about today deals with that. But it's an even deeper kind of fear. It's an even more subtle kind of fear that we have as adults. It's not a phobia. It's not an extreme kind of panic or alarm. It's a subtle kind of fear. It's a fear that makes us go back and forth in our decisions every day. 1 month we're on a diet. The next month we're pigging out every day. Sometimes we feel like we can accomplish our dreams, we can meet those goals. And next time we're not sure about ourselves. This is a kind of fear that pretends to be bold and strong. I am an achiever. But deep down inside, it's masking fears. It's masking a whole lot of insecurities. This is a fear that is afraid to fail, but it's also the fear that's afraid to succeed. Because if I'm too successful, maybe my friends wouldn't like me. Maybe I will be too intimidating. We women struggle with fear, don't we? We often feel we're not as good as a man. Somehow we're second best. We're second-class citizen. Men, they have fear, just like we do. But they've been taught to mask it with manhood. Big boys don't cry, mom says to her sons. And so we all grow up into adults. I become the wonderful executive, the corporate bank executive, and I am running this Fortune 500 company. And everyone looks at me and I seem to be the picture of success. And yet, there's fear. I'm powerless. Power is a word that we women don't like to talk about. We kind of look at it as a man thing, don't we? Men, on the other hand, you are taught to somehow think that this is what you need to succeed. And so it's a positive thing for men. But for women, it's not looked at as so positive. But the truth is, this drive for power, this drive to overcome fear, is something that is innate within all of us. On the playground, I like just to go back to childhood because you know what? Fear comes from our childhood. Whether we believe we're born with it, whether we believe it's nurtured, it starts in childhood. We're taught on the playground to share our toys, to be the good girl, to be the good boy. And yet we go to school and we're taught competition and being better than the next is what is going to prepare you for life. So we're taught these mixed messages about power. And so we have this sort of love-hate sentiment with power. But I'd like to talk to you about a positive kind of power.